This is Leatherback Library. I thought today I would cover Blind Man's Bluff. You see, Blind Man's Bluff is a unique book in that it reads like a fantasy or science fiction novel, but it's history. And because of that, it's much better than a fantasy or science fiction novel. Because in a science fiction or fantasy novel, you always have it in the back of your mind that, this is it's happening in the book, but the whole reason you're reading it is because it can happen in real life. You read books to escape reality. That's the whole point of books. You go to another world, it's a better world, it's a more interesting world, However, this book will make you start reading history because it's all real. You realize that this has happened in your world. This is the real world. And it's the craziest stuff because it surpasses fiction in the fact that sometimes it doesn't even obey the laws of math. 2 plus 2 can equal 5 in reality, but in fiction that would never fly, right? This is too improbable, this is too cheesy. The author just ran out of ideas, right? Like the Michael Crichton book that they finished where they brought in Wyatt Earp at the end or some shit. Because finished the book. But the beginning was great. Anyways, Blind Man's Bluff. This is about Cold War submarines, and what's interesting about it is it covers the craziest things. I'll give you something I thought was the craziest. We lost a nuke. Actually, we lost 4 nukes in the middle of the Mediterranean. And the Soviets knew we lost 4 nukes in the middle of the Mediterranean. And so we tried to look for them for 2 weeks. And then the U.S. government hired this man. And this man decided that it would be a great idea to find it unconventionally. And by unconventionally, I mean he took bets on where the nuke was. What he did is he gathered a bunch of physicists, engineers, scientists, people who worked on the project, all that kind of stuff. And he had them place bets with money on every little thing that could happen, right? Did it fall? How fast was the wind going? Did it go this way? Did the wings snap? Did the parachute deploy? How many of the parachutes deployed? Where was the current going? And what happened is after they plugged in all the calculations and got it for everything they bet, it was marked off in a trench miles away from where anybody else was guessing, right? It was not even a possibility that was there. But the U.S. government was desperate because the Soviets were looking for this too. And so the U.S. government actually followed this guy's advice based on, betting where a nuke is when you're racing the Soviets for it. And it was right where he said it was when the top scientists couldn't find it for 2 weeks in hundreds of mile areas. You would never believe that if you read a fantasy book, but it's real. This actually happened. 2 plus 2 equals 5 in reality, but, it can't in fantasy.